Mike Radich here, and I'm now joined on the phone by UFC Bantamweight Rob Font. Rob, how are you?
Doing great. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Rob, you just picked up the biggest win of your career back on July 5th. You defeated George Roop by first-round knockout at UFC 175. I'm just curious, how much has your life changed after this fight? Obviously, you picked up the biggest win of your career. Obviously, you got your hand raised in your UFC debut. Obviously, you had a highlight reel knockout, and you picked up a bonus. So, I'm just curious, how's your life different from July 4th or 3rd or before that? How's your life different after this big win?
So, my life, is just pretty much the same. I just gotta. I gotta perform better the next time. That's all. I just gotta make sure I do better the next time. But besides anything else, the money's going into the bank, and the training's staying the same. We're gonna, keep our head down, stay focused, and just keep training hard.
Mm-hmm. That was going to be my next question. So all your money is in the bank. You didn't go on a crazy spending spree. You didn't buy anything fancy. You didn't buy anything crazy. You didn't go gamble at the casino. Everything's still in order. All the money's still there.
Yep, straight to the bank. It's pretty much just a little bit of comfort for later on. That's about it.
Mm-hmm. Just curious, how did you celebrate after the fight?
Actually, I was kind of worn out, from after the fight. I won, I got the fight done, and went back to the back room, did all the interviews, did everything we had to do, and then we had to hang around because I had the press conference, and I just sat back in the back, watched the fights, and then after the fights, did the press conference. That took a little while, and after that, I had to get something to eat, so we tried to find a restaurant that was open, but it was a little too late to get all of us in and sit down, so we just ran to Subway real quick. Then I went to the room, changed up, and went down to a little bar, but I just wasn't feeling it, so I had one drink, I just went upstairs and fell asleep.
Mm-hmm. I see. Now, this had been something that you've dreamed of for a very long time. You always dreamed of fighting in the UFC. Take me back to that dream that you had about fighting in the UFC. What exactly was that dream? Paint the picture for us, and how close did the fight against George Roop compare to that dream that you had of finally being inside the octagon?
I would always sit on the sidelines at the gym and just watch people spar and just look at them. Not necessarily, and I wasn't even necessarily that good, but I just knew that, I can do that. I feel like if you put me in there right now, I can be okay. I just need to learn how to wrestle and do jiu-jitsu. And, I feel like I can actually do this. And as I kept watching, more professional guys spar and then different guys at different gyms spar, I felt a lot more confident. And then, I'm going all in. I'm just going to make sure I really get some wrestling and jiu-jitsu and, of course, sharpen up my stand-up skills. But, if I'm going all in, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go all in and make it happen. And, last night, everything, not to sound kind of weird, but I'm sorry, not last night, but, at fight night,
right.
Everything just right from being in the back room to the walkout to just being in the cage. I felt great. There was no jitters. There was nothing. It just felt like I was supposed to be there, and it was just dream come true.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'm just curious, why didn't you feel those octagon jitters? Everyone who makes their debut, for the most part, talks about having those UFC jitters. Why didn't you have those? Because, this would have been the perfect card for you to have those jitters, because it's, the biggest card of the year, Fan Expo, 2 title fights, 2 of the biggest stars in the UFC, Ronda Rousey, Chris Weidman, and Uriah Faber's fighting on the card, and there's a lot of attention, a big weekend. There was the Frankie Edgar, BJ Penn fight. So for you making your debut on this card, it would have been, I guess, acceptable for you to have those jitters. Why didn't they follow you? Why didn't you feel those UFC jitters in your debut?
It's hard to tell. I actually thought maybe when I was in there, okay, maybe I'm a little bit too cocky right now, or I'm a little overconfident because I feel great. There's no nerves at all. I feel like it's another day. And I guess I got to give it to my team and my coaches, getting me, well prepared for the fight. that's the only thing I could think of, because I was like, all right, when's this supposed to happen? Everybody tells me that the lights are brighter. You see Bruce Buffer, and he starts freaking out, and there goes Joe Rogan, and of course the cage is big, and the arena's huge. I just didn't. None of that affected me. It just felt like this is where I'm supposed to be, and I belong here, and just go out there and have fun, and like I said, I almost thought I was being overconfident. Like, okay, something like, just relax. So you're too cocky, you're too confident. Like something, you're not supposed to be this comfortable in the ring. But then, we got out there, it just felt right. From the canvas on on my feet to just moving around, the size of the cage, everything just felt amazing.
Now, how much did CES MMA, how much did that experience fighting for them help you? Because, you went from fighting in main events and title fights to bouncing right to the UFC. Did that help the transition? Because here you are, the guy who's fighting in the local smaller shows, the promotion is hoping that you can carry the event, and now you transition to the UFC. Did that experience fighting in those main events and fighting for the title in CES MMA help you make that transition? Do you think that's a reason why you didn't have those jitters?
Yes, definitely. CES is one of the best promotions locally, hands down. Not only with the promotion, but the press conferences, the open workouts they do, the photo shoots they do. It was exactly the photo shoot that we did for the UFC was exactly what we were doing down in Rhode Island. It was kind of crazy, but from that, then you get the way they promote the fight. They really promote the fight. Then you have the top talent, the local top talent that they bring in. So every fight's a tough fight, and you're in a casino. They really do sell a lot of tickets, so it's a pretty big crowd. I was just I think, they prepare me well for the bigger promotion, and, of course, always the bigger fights, main events, all the attention on you. Like you said, you got to carry the card pretty much, and I think I did my job well out there, and prepare me, for the UFC, definitely.
Now, in the pre-fight, I guess you say meetings and stuff. I don't know exactly what they call them, but you come in and maybe Burt Watson meets with you, checks your weight, stuff like that. Then they have you sign the posters for the event. Did your hand get tired writing your name?
I think it was like 100 and exact. I think it was 138 exactly. It was crazy. I couldn't believe it. Like they told me, you think, oh, it's only 130. I can do that, but when you actually sit down and sign stuff 138 times, it's definitely your hands starts cramping up, and it's crazy. But you got to get used to it. I guess I do that every single fight.
Now, how much of the International Fight Week were you able to take in? Were you able to check out the expo? Were you able to mingle with some of the other UFC fighters, or were you kind of just in tunnel vision for the fight? Were you just kind of solely focused on the fight, kind of stuck around the hotel room, stuck around with your corner? Did you take in any of the festivities?
Actually, we didn't do much out there at all. I definitely got to go back out when I'm not fighting, because it was strictly business. We pretty much was in the hotel. If not, we went to Whole Foods, and if not, it was just the workout room or the hotel. That was it, or maybe the farm. That was it. I didn't get to go to the expo. I didn't really get to hang out with any of the fighters. And like I said, I was just there for business. But I would definitely love to go out there and not fighting, just kind of take it all in. Especially like the Saturday Expo. They did it the Saturday, so I couldn't wake up and go there and get ready for a fight. I was just hanging out in the room and just getting mentally prepared in the room. But definitely didn't get to take it all in. But I had a blast still, just being out there, and still had a blast. So, but definitely got to go out next time and do it all.
Now, when did you leave Vegas? Was that on Sunday or was that on Monday when you left?
That Sunday morning, so I couldn't really even hang out afterwards. So it was Saturday. We kind of, like I said, had two beers. Went upstairs, fell asleep, woke up, and it was on the plane. It was in the air no later than 9:30.
I see. Now, what was it like backstage for you. Did Dana White, did he come up and talk to you at all? Did Sean Shelby come up and talk to you at all? What was it like backstage when you got done with the fight?
It was pretty much, everybody congratulating me when they see me, all the guys that work for UFC. Didn't get to see Dana or any of those guys till a little bit afterwards. But, they was just, everybody, hey, man, that was definitely a big way to make your debut. Looked great out there, and, pretty much welcome to the UFC. Then after that, Dennis came up, Lorenzo came up. They all kind of, congratulated and told me, keep it up. You look amazing out there. That was a big fight for you. George Roop's definitely a tough veteran, and that was basically it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Now, at the press conference, they announced that you had won a Performance of the Night bonus. Did they tell you anything before that you were getting it, or was it just a surprise to you at the press conference when you got the news?
They just told me that we need you to stay for the press conference, and I was like, back on my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm just wishing, okay, there's no way they would need me to stay if I wasn't getting the bonus, So I was kind of crossing my fingers that every single fight was a boring. I have to mess up the whole card, but I was just hoping every single fight was a boring fight, and it was just the worst fight ever, just to make sure we got. But I got a little scared with Ronda's fight and Weaving, but it all worked out.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Now, does it make the bonus more special considering the company that you were with? Because, some of these fights were, real good fights. You had, he didn't get a finish, but, it could have got a bonus. Uriah Hall had his toe all messed up. And obviously, going into it, a lot of people thought that he might have been able to get a knockout because of the highlight reel knockouts that he had on The Ultimate Fighter. So you had a lot of competition on that night. Does it make it more special that you got that bonus over some of these exciting fighters?
Definitely, when I got the call to say, hey, you're fighting July 5th, I was like, great, cool, I'm so happy, couldn't believe it. And then I actually sat down, looked up the card, I was like, wow, this is a stacked card, so I was like, and then, joking, we always joking around, like, yeah, you're definitely not bonusing on this fight, on this card. Then it just so happens, we start the show on Fox with a big knockout, so, it was like, well, okay, maybe then joking around, oh my God, maybe you might bonus it. It's crazy. And then, sure enough, he did. It was nuts. But definitely a stacked card. Odds are against me, and we definitely proved it wrong again.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Now, I'm just curious, what exactly was the game plan going into the fight? And also, could you talk me through the finish to the Roop fight? Talk me through the finish and what was the game plan?
Pretty much. We had a close distance on him. We knew he was, decent, of course, with his kicks and being at range. But if we knew if we get him to, say pretty much plant his feet and just stay in one spot, we would be a lot quicker than him and be able to get big shots off. But if you watch a video on him, every time he gets hit with anything, semi-big, he gets rocked and his legs are all wobbly. And honestly, we thought it would be the left hook, not necessarily the right hand. But I feel like everybody that fights him always throws a big right hand or overhand. But plan was a 1-2, laying a big left hook, but we just jumped in, closed the distance. He threw the hook. I split it right down, in the middle with the right hand, and I honestly thought I missed him. That's why, if you look at the replay, I kind of look back, oh, I got him, and it just, I felt like I hit nothing. I felt like I just flung in the air, my hand went, right through him, and I thought I missed him, but it was, a clean shot, and he went down, and then just had to follow up with a couple more just to make sure, they stopped the fight, but I honestly thought I missed him, but... it was the best feeling in the world, and I looked back, and he's falling. He's almost leaned over, and I was like, "Oh yes, got him!" Just jumped on him.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Now, when you got the call from the UFC, offering you to fight against George Roop, what went through your mind? Because obviously George Roop is a longtime veteran of the sport. He fought in the UFC for a long time. He's also fought in the WEC for a long time. Were you expecting when you finally got that call to the UFC that you'd be getting a veteran like this?
Actually, we were supposed to fight this guy named Douglas Jandros, I believe, from Brazil. Mm-hmm. But he had some of these issues. He couldn't get into the States. I don't know exactly what happened. you know, so, you know, that was a little kind of, you know, heartbreaking. I'm like, yeah, you know, sorry, you know, we're looking for somebody we just don't know yet, but, you know, stay ready, keep training, and then maybe, I don't know, like 3 days after I got that call, hey, look, we got George Roop for you. And, you know, at first you're like, wow, that's George Roop. You know, I always watch him when he, you know, fighting WC. But then, you know, I was like, I'm definitely not going to turn down this opportunity. This is a huge opportunity. Why not just jump on it and, you know, just, you know, pretty much chop down, you know, the giant. Like, let's do it. Like, it sounds funny, but when you got a guy that's that tall and you see him fall, it's a little bit more, like, has a little more wow factor. Like, wow, like, that short guy was not supposed to knock that tall guy out like that. So, like, if we could make a statement here, we can, you know what I'm saying, make a name off this guy. And it was like, definitely, let's do it. Like, who cares about the experience? Who cares about how many times he fought in the UFC? Let's just go out there and do what you got to do. We know the game plan to beat him. It's set up there. Honestly, it almost worked against him that he had so much experience because you know exactly how to beat him. You know, like Martin gave me exactly, like, pretty much the blueprint off of his side. You got to beat him. We're going to get the right sparring partners to come in, and then he's going to, you know what I'm saying, you know, practice the game plan pretty much every day. Then you go out there and do it, and that's exactly what he did.
Right, right. Now, how much do you think he knew about you going into the fight?
You know, there's one thing about CES, they do put out the video, so you have at least 3 back-to-back fights you can watch on me.
Right.
I'm not sure, I don't know if he did watch them or not, but there's some stuff out there, but, you know, I try not to, like, I watch my videos a lot just to make sure I don't make the same mistakes again, but, you know, it's definitely hard, but, you know, I'm not sure how much new, but there's some stuff out there that kind of figured me out.
Now, after the fight, you said going into it that you weren't worried about his height or his reach or any of that kind of stuff. So I'm just curious, going into the fight, what were you worried about? Or maybe worried isn't the right term. What was something about his game that you had to be cautious and aware of when fighting him? Going into this fight, what were some things that you saw on film from his past? You're like, you know what, if I'm going to get a win on July 5th, I need to stop that, or I need to be on the lookout for that. What was the plan? You know, what were your thoughts going into it?
You know, we figured he'd be, you know, real annoying if he got on top. And, you know, let him ground and pound it, go and just keeping me on the ground and just letting, like, his long elbows, like, you know, like kind of John Jones gets on top and he just lets big elbows go because he's so tall. Like,
right.
He's so, you know, long. And we figured, like, if he, you know, put me against the cage, put me down, got me, kind of stuck me against the cage, kind of crowded me, it'd be a long night. It'd be kind of hard to get back off my back. So we definitely don't want to be in our back. And also, if we do get on top, we're on the ground, let's be real careful, because anybody that long, 6'1", is going to be an issue. You know, arm bars, triangles, just the overhooks are a little harder to get out of because his arm. So, like, we definitely was worried about the game. So the ground game. So we definitely spent a lot of time on the ground, you know, working in certain situations.
I took a look at your record and I noticed a pattern of your fights. You've either won the fight in the first round, or you've won a decision or lost a decision. You had that fight against Des Green that you lost by unanimous decision, but none of your fights have ended in the second round, whether you're on the winning end or losing end. Any of your pro fights, I mean, has never ended in the second round. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. It's kind of funny. Like, I didn't really realize that. So you said it. Like, I don't know. I'm not sure. I gotta figure that out, man. But you know, we. I guess I could say once I hurt somebody, I pounce on them and really try to get them out of there. But then again, I'm also patient. If it's not there, I'm not gonna force it. So. But I guess I got to get some second round finishes, you know?
Well, if you finish him in the first, I don't think anyone's going to be disappointed. I think everyone wants a first round finish, so you're doing a good job on that, because I've been looking at your past fights, and you've been just on an absolute tear. You have a bunch of first round stoppages, and the one blemish on your record is the fight against Des Green, your second pro fight, April of 2012. You lost by unanimous decision to him. He's a great fighter, no shame in the loss, but since then you've been on an absolute roll. You finished a bunch of guys, and now you're signed in the UFC and just picked up a great win. So what did you learn from that loss?
I pretty much learned, you can't sit there and try to play jiu-jitsu with, in an MMA fight. You gotta be able to wrestle. You gotta be able to get off your back and, not just sit there and, it's not a jiu-jitsu match. You gotta go in there and get off your back and handle business. So, but besides that, it's just being more prepared with wrestlers and being more conditioned to actually wrestle for that many rounds, and he was just an animal, man. The guy he got on top of me. I couldn't shake him. It was ridiculous, but honestly, it was just wrestling, man. I learned I have to wrestle more than anything else, and just be prepared to wrestle for 3 5-minute rounds, get into crazy scrambles, and get up and get off my back and put him on his back, and just have that wrestling mentality instead of kind of playing that jiu-jitsu, having that jiu-jitsu mindset.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Now, I'm just curious, what was your mindset before that fight? Like, obviously, you learned a lot from that loss, but before that, what were you thinking? Like, what were you thinking was like, something that you needed to work on, and then obviously it was learned that you had this whole thing about the wrestling that you need to improve that, and you need to start implementing it more. Besides that, was there anything that you're like, this needs to improve, or I could do this better, or I need to add that to my game? Like, was it just the wrestling that was the thing that just popped in your mind after that loss?
That and just being a little bit better shape. Like, I wasn't in that shape. I took the fight on short notice. I wasn't training the most. I mean, best I could have been training. I took it on short notice. I took it at 55. And I just wasn't prepared for that. He was Division I wrestler. I wasn't prepared for that wrestler at the time. So just not taking short notice fights that just doesn't, that don't make sense. And just making sure I'm always in shape. Not just, okay, fight, take two or 3 weeks off, and then try to get back in shape again. Like, I just got to fight, maybe take 2 or 3 days off, and then get right back to it,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Now, it's been well documented that your, past employment has been that of a pizza delivery man. Just curious, do you still work this job? Is this still ongoing, or have you decided to quit because you just got this big bonus? You're in the UFC doing big things. Are you still doing that?
No, I haven't worked for the pizza company for almost 3 years now.
Oh.
My girlfriend, my girlfriend was like, hey, if you want to do this, you can't really be working. You really want to do this, like, I'll gamble and, and pretty much front you for however you need to get to where you need to get to. And, she took a big step on me, and it worked,
I see. You have a very smart girlfriend because, obviously she knows that everyone else is doing it full time, so if you want to compete with these guys, you got to do it as well.
Exactly. She's like, you can't sit there and, be working and worrying about this and running around doing this. If you can be training while everybody else is working and doing all kind of crazy stuff, why not have the edge on them? Like I said, I've been training full time for the last 2.5 years, 3 years, and it's been double. It's been 2 days for the last 3 years, and it's been paying off.
Mm-hmm. Definitely been paying off for you. Just curious, was this your debut at 135?
Yep, debut at 135. We got the title shot at 45. We definitely couldn't turn it down. By the time I really wanted the belt, I felt like if I have a belt, it'd be a little bit more easier to find fights. Who doesn't want to fight for a title in the local scene? Especially in New England, everybody wants to fight for a belt. So that let's get the 45 belt and just stay busy and fighting. I was fighting, I think, for CES about 6 times, like in a year and a half. And then all right, we got the big win. We beat Tristan Johnson. We knocked him out in the first round. Mm-hmm. And it was like, all right, you know what? Time to go down to 35. No more playing around here at 45. Our plan was to vacate the belt and go down to 35. The next show for August, which is coming up. And then, we got the call, so it was like perfect timing. I was never really the cleanest eater at the time, fighting at 45. I was making weight pretty easy. Kind of just, not even really being strict with the diet. So after that fight, we got the nutritionist, really buckled down. with the nutrition and watching everything I ate, not cheating all the time, and we made the weight easy. It was an easy weight cut. The day of the weigh-ins, only cut 2.5 pounds that morning. It was nothing. It was easy. I wasn't miserable at all, and you feel like this is a little more natural weight class for me.
Mm-hmm. Now, when you signed with the UFC, was the plan for you to come in at bantamweight, or was it kind of a surprise to them that you were going to drop down in weight? Because obviously you were a champion at featherweight in a regional show. So were they surprised that you were going to go down to 135 when they signed you?
No, they always talk into Mario the guy. He's always, as all the UFC manager,
right?
Management, Charles Crossing, Tyson, always tell me, hey, we got this guy, everything's ready. So I said, all right, just keep him winning. We'll think about it. We'll keep him in mind. But he was like, when we want to go, when we want to get him in, we want him at 35. So it wasn't a surprise, and then we got the call. So can't complain at all. Everything went smooth.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Now I'm just curious, did you ever try out for the Ultimate Fighter?
No, we didn't want to go that route. We felt like we didn't need to. I actually kind of I don't like the show as a fighter. You fight so many times, and that short, time of being out there, you're in the house. Just, you definitely, you get a lot more exposure, but just in pretty much if you didn't win that show, it was kind of hard for you to really, get a name for yourself, and people kind of forget about you. So we didn't really want to go that route, and Mark didn't want to go that route either. He was kind of like, I don't know what those are fighter. I think we stayed locally. We got with CES. We stayed busy. They were paying well. So it was I think it's a better bet to keep staying, be patient and just wait, and just keep waiting out and wait for that phone call.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Now, did you know that you were very close to signing with the UFC? I mean, you mentioned that there was an August date that you were planning on fighting on if you didn't get that call. But did you sense that after the Tristan Johnson fight, okay, now the call's coming. I just gotta be ready when it does come. Did you think you were very close?
I didn't think. I hoped and wished it was, but I definitely wasn't thinking it. We got after that fight, we got right back to the gym. We were training to make sure. Whoever we got in August, prepared, but I definitely didn't think that. But always in the back of your mind, you wish and hope, hey, I hope I get the call, and just what happened, we did. But I definitely wasn't. I wasn't like, okay, I'm not Tristan Johnson. They have to pick me up. Definitely wasn't that. I mean, we knew that he was a tough fight. He was a great, fighter out of Canada. He had a big name in Canada. We knew, he could be on the radar, for the 45 hours out there, but I didn't think it was, shooters right into the UFC,
I see. Now, how long did you have to prepare for this fight that just happened on July 5th? Obviously, you said that you had a different opponent, and then George Roop stepped up and took the fight, but overall, how long were you preparing for that fight?
Like I said, we literally took 1 week off and got right back to the gym, so was it April 25th, I believe I fought, and the next week, it was right back in there.
I see.
However, I can't figure it out. Weeks out where we was just training. So, like I said, I'm not working, so I don't have time to sit around. I get bored if anything if I'm not training. So we right back in the gym, training full time. I feel like if you're not injured, what are you doing, partying and all that? If you should be in the gym training, and why not? You're not. Job's not done because you knocked out some guy in the local promotion. Job's not done. We gotta keep it going, and make sure you're ready for any time they give us a call.
Mm-hmm. Now, the reason I asked is because usually when they sign new talent, to put on their undercards, it's usually on short notice. Like somebody falls out and then they find someone on the regional circuit and plug them in. Were you surprised that you were given a longer time than the average window for a training camp? Were you surprised by that?
Yeah, I guess, usually they kind of you're kind of a fill-in for somebody else. It's kind of, I guess you could say, the fight was kind of for me, I guess, because they had a backup guy.
Right.
And for the guy that fell out. But yeah, I definitely, I definitely was confident in that and happy that, they gave me pretty much a training camp. Usually it's, hey, this guy got injured, can you step in and fight? And, that wasn't our case. So, we're definitely happy with that. And, I think Sean Shelby, I got to thank him. I think he really does believe in me, and he thinks I can go far in this division.
Now, you said after the fight that you want to fight Sergio Pettis. I'm just curious, why him?
Coming off a knockout like that, it was an exciting fight. It was fun to watch. I would hate to, kind of get in there with a fight that could be potentially make it a boring fight, Sergio Pettis' style, there's no way in hell that fight could be a boring fight, He's flashy, he's exciting, he brings the fight, he's always looking for the finish, There's no way that fight could potentially be a boring fight. So, coming off of that George Root fight, now you see, okay, Rob Font versus Sergio Pettis, that's got to be a fight of the night candidate. That's got to be a great fight, because those two guys, they're definitely going to go at it. You know what I'm saying? I definitely want to get in there with some type of wrestler that's going to want to make it drag it out and make it a boring fight, or not going to want to really get into any exchanges. So I think Sergio Pettis would be perfect for that type of fight. And, no disrespect to him or, bad blood towards him. I just think, it would be a great fight for both of us.
I like that fight. I like it a lot, actually. I like, you guys are both kind of in the same boat here. He had a loss not too long ago, but you just beat a very tough veteran, and the UFC, that's kind of how they like to matchmake. You see guys in the past, they beat a well-known veteran early in their career, and they don't throw them right in against some wolf in the top 10. They like to bring them on kind of at the same pace, not really throw them in too quickly, throw them into deep waters way too fast, and kind of test them early. They kind of just like to keep them on the same track they're going. So I love that Sergio Pettis fight. I like where your mind's at. It's a exciting fight, number one, and number two, it makes sense because you guys are kind of in the same bracket in the UFC. So I'm just curious, when are you hoping to return? Is October? Is that a good month? September, October, somewhere like that?
Yeah, I'm looking at. We're hoping for September. September 5th at Foxwoods in Connecticut. Not too far from, Massachusetts and Rhode Island. So we can get some people down there to watch the fight. It won't be nothing but two, maybe 2.5 hour drive for me, so I can kind of, we don't have to get on the plane and do the whole, and at that, we don't have to do the whole jet lag thing. I think it'd be a great opportunity for, me to really go out there and put on a show in front of, Northeast fans.
I see. Now, what are you up to right now? Are you right back in the gym training? Are you...
I'm taking the week off. I'm actually in Florida right now visiting my family. I'm actually in my mom's room right now just hanging out, just talking to you. But, I'm going to be out here till Sunday and just hanging out with the family.
Oh.
I just flew in this morning.
Oh, I see. Now, I'm just curious, how much media have you done since the fight? Because I've seen some stuff online, and you've pretty much been everywhere. How much media have you done?
I've done a lot. I've pretty much been doing an interview every day since that fight. It's been great, though. I've been loving it, loving the attention, loving the practice. Just kind of, being on the radio and doing, interviews like this. It's been great. I've been just enjoying it all.
Well, Rob, real quick before I let you go, do you have any sponsors you'd like to thank, and is there anything you'd like to say to the fans?
Yeah, I just want to thank all the fans that support me, all my friends, family, teammates, coaches, everybody that supports me. You can, give me a follow on Twitter at Rob S. Font, Instagram at Rob Font, and look me up on Facebook, at Robert Font. So, that'd be huge.
Rob, thank you for taking the time to talk. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much for having me on.